It's the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul, the podcast about stories in business and in life with your hosts Ed Fox and Paul Odendahl.
Welcome to Cilantro Sandwich.
Now, hang on. Hey, g'day viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox and Paul Odendahl with the Wake Up Call. And this is going to be a riot. With us is Daniel Gaza out of California. And g'day, Daniel. Thanks for being on the show.
Hi, good morning, Ed and Paul. I'm so excited to be here with y'all.
Well, thanks. I am
so much looking forward to it. Here's the problem, Daniel. Here's the problem. I interrupt them all the time. Here's the problem. The great news is this is going to be an amazing show. The bad news is we won't see it probably until like July. He's slower than shit getting this stuff out on YouTube, but so it'll probably be like maybe July if we're lucky, but it'll be a great summer program.
And yeah, now I feel like I didn't get the memo. I should have red, white, and blue so I could have matched. But
well, we were talking.
I'm not going to say I feel left out, but I feel left out.
You're not left out. You're not left out.
I like your shirt. Be excellent to each other. Is that a Bill and Ted saying? I think that's a Bill and Ted.
He don't know. He doesn't even know who Bill and Ted is.
What? But no, I saw it online and I thought, what a great shirt to wear for shows. Just put subtle message, but positive and move things forward.
Yeah, totally subtle. Subtle. So subtle.
And very
Those
positive.
Of you that are listening to the podcast instead of watching the podcast, Daniel's got a shirt on. You'll have to catch it on Facebook and on YouTube. So, it's good that Daniel's got a shirt on. It says "Be excellent to each other." So,
yeah.
But we were talking before we started recording this, and sort of like Paul and I are wearing the American flag shirts, and it was like 2 slices of Wonder Bread with some cilantro. Is cilantro that herb that some people like really hate the taste of, right? Like,
oh, I like it. No, I like it.
Yeah, but some people don't, right?
Some people don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I originally said carne asada sandwich, but since Ed didn't understand what carne asada was, till he comes to the States and we make some real carne asada, we went for cilantro. So we're going to go with cilantro sandwich. I like that.
Daniel, he only understands Vegemite. He's just a Vegemite kid. He lives on Vegemite.
I've been curious about trying it, so I'm gonna order some and try it.
Okay. So the secret with Vegemite, okay, just like don't listen to anybody else. I've got your best interests at heart.
Of course.
Okay?
Really?
So when we look at a slice of toast with peanut butter on it, right? So we got the peanut butter, and it's a good 3 mil thick, right?
Okay.
So I don't know what that is in your language.
Right, here we go.
Well, I'm from Mexico, so
you're metric, right? I was talking to Paul because Paul's got them.
I don't think Paul understands.
All right, don't make me making fun of how slow I am. Keep
Paul
going.
doesn't understand half of what the world's going through right now.
That's right. So we put peanut butter on like 3 mil thick. Vegemite, you put a little dab on the end of the knife and you spread it all over the bread. Then you scrape the bloody stuff off so you can just see all the butter through it, right? You can see all the butter through it. It's not very thick at all.
Okay.
And to make it taste better, you eat a mosquito with it.
So you're saying I'm not going to like it, so don't even do it.
No. Do you like savory stuff or do you prefer
sweet stuff? I'm a savory person. Yes.
Okay. So what I found is when I let all the kids try it in schools when I'd go around and talk about Australia, 1 kid in 30 would like it.
Gotcha.
But you got to put it on thin. You got to put it on really, really, really thin. And it's got to be with butter. You got to put butter on first.
Butter. It's got to be with butter.
Butter.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Which is hard for me because I always lay it on thick. So this is going to be very difficult for me. So.
Oh, you lay it on thick, Daniel? I didn't know that. I didn't know that Paul lays it on thick too, just so you know.
I just love y'all's energy. This is such a cool way to wake up in the morning. And for those of you listening, it's Taco Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So what a great way to wake up on a Tuesday morning. And
we love Taco Tuesday.
I love Taco Monday, Taco
Tuesday, Taco Wednesday. We just
That's
love.
why you're my kind of people. You're my kind of people.
Yeah,
no, you're kind of our person. Be excellent to each other.
The best street tacos I ever had. Best street tacos.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
San Marcos, Texas.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I was kind of concerned about where you're going to go with this because I've
Taco
never
Bell?
trusted.
No.
Whenever a white person, no insult. Whenever a white person tells me, I know the best Mexican restaurant ever.
And is that how white
I-
people normally say it? Can you do that again?
yes.
How does a white person normally say it?
And it's usually like,
I know the
Daniel,
best
I'm
Tex-
so glad that you came to visit us. We're gonna take you to the most authentic Mexican restaurant ever. And then that's when you see them get the salsa out of a jar. And you're like, oh, this is just not starting well. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we were
They're
down
trying
in
to be kind. They're trying to be kind, Daniel. You look Norwegian. So they're trying to be kind.
Oh, Daniel, did you hear? I was reading a story the other day.
Oh no, that's dangerous.
The Norwegian Navy. Did you know that the Norwegian Navy puts barcodes on the side of their warships? Do you know why?
That.
Why?
Well, so then when they come back to port, they can Scandinavian. Scandinavian. Get it?
So
Waka waka.
So is this a midlife crisis thing? Are you starting stand-up comedy? Is
No,
that
no, I'd suck
No,
at
no,
stand-up.
no,
I'm
no.
not really
Good,
into
good.
stand-up comedy. I'm more of a sit-down comedy guy.
comedy? I got it. Yeah, sit down and wait for the joke.
That's right. You know. So I've
Actually, that was pretty funny, Ed. I'm
Thank
kidding. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
No, was it? No, it wasn't.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
No,
It
it
was.
wasn't.
Anyway, so we're in San Marcos, Texas, and we go to this street. We wake up, and this guy that lives there, he says, "Oh man, I've got the best street tacos." And I thought the same thing as you. You're whiter than me, dude. How can you have the best street tacos? You know. And,
All right, enough with the white stuff. Go ahead.
right. And the guys that are dishing out, they go, "Oh, you want mild sauce on it?" I'm like, "I don't want mild sauce on my taco. Put the hot stuff on there." He's like, "You really? Like he's not saying it, but he's like, "You're pretty white, dude." You know? Oh no, they were friggin' delicious. Like fresh roasted potatoes and some pulled pork type stuff. I don't know if it was pulled pork, whatever it was. It was really good.
Kangaroo.
Are you a hot salsa kind of guy, Ed? Do you like spicy stuff?
Well, I've got a story about that. When I first got here to the US, my idea of spicy sauce on my tacos was ketchup. We'd go to Taco Bell, crappy tacos, and then we'd go over to McDonald's and say, "Hey, you forgot to put ketchup in our bag." And so I'd get a couple of ketchups to put on my tacos.
Wow.
But that's when I got here. And then somebody introduced me to Louisiana hot sauce for pizza. And I fell in love with pineapple pizza on whatever pizza we're having. And then pineapple on the pizza, I should say, and then some Louisiana hot sauce spread all over it. But I grew up eating a lot of Indian curry. Every restaurant on a corner in Australia was either Indian or Thai, or Chinese. But the Indian stuff was really good. As long as you don't get one of them dodgy vindaloos. You don't want a dodgy vindaloo. It'll stay with you. Well, it won't stay with you. That's the problem.
Do you like hot stuff, Paul?
Ghost peppers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's more
I
than
go right to the ghost peppers.
Two. Wow.
I go right to the ghost peppers. But you know what's interesting? This show is supposed to be the opportunity for business owners to come on and share their successes and or questions about their business. And clearly this show is all about Ed. It's all about Ed. So this show has now been changed to Wake Up Call with Ed and Ed. It's about Ed.
Good. I'm glad you finally got the memo.
The message. Yeah.
I think it's because Paul and I have shared conversations.
I'm going to do a show with Daniel. I'm doing a show with Daniel.
And and then you've been on my show.
Yeah.
Too, so yeah. Now we need to get Ed on my show and bring him on. And
absolutely. Talk about tacos. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so moving on.
Am I supposed to talk about my business and what I do and stuff? Oh,
no,
okay.
You're supposed to talk about tacos.
Tacos.
Well, no, you can talk. You can. Well, one of the things that we wanted.
Wait a minute. We didn't ask Daniel. Do you like hot sauce?
I do. I grew up in a household. I mean, I'm Mexican, obvious. And from very early on, my parents always had. There were three things in the refrigerator almost all the time: beans, tortillas, and salsa. So if you were ever hungry, you made a bean and salsa taco. That was just standard. But in Mexico and here in the States somewhere, there's these little peppers called chile piquin, and there's these they look like little BBs, and they look like candy, and it's staple that most Mexican homes have them on the table, and they look like candy. It says you grow up, kids are always like, I want one. They're like, no, it's hot. Until you get to a certain age, which is usually about 3 or 4, where you're like, I want one, and your parents are like, eat one, and it burns the sin out of you. But that's how you learn. And my dad we were always scared of my dad cooking because he always made salsa and meat, not meat and salsa. It was always like hot. And talking about my boyfriend Christian, when we met, he was like Ed. He would not eat anything spicy. I mean, I could wave a jalapeno over the food and that was enough. It was like a magic wand. Now he makes some of the best hot salsas that I've ever had. Yeah, and we've been together 9 years, so he's learned. But you know when he learned when I was going through cancer because I lost my taste buds through chemo, and he wanted to make food that I could taste. So he learned to make very spicy salsas for me. But now, yeah, I love salsas. I have some in the refrigerator. I have beans, tortillas, and salsa in my refrigerator. I live by my mom's rules.
So okay, so you've gone through some stuff in your life, right? And that's the people that we have on the show. We've all gone through stuff. And one of the things that Paul and I that talked us into that we talked about for starting this show was that as small business owners or as business owners, we sometimes think about that we're in it by ourselves, and we never are in it by ourselves, right? So tell us a little bit about, did you grow up in an entrepreneurial family, or what made you go down the route of starting a business?
Not really. My dad always had ideas. They just never panned out, or somebody else would take it and run with it. But it wasn't something that he like, come here, son, let's do this. And I have to do the disclaimer for those of you listening and watching, I'm gay, and growing up gay. Yeah, I know. If you saw me, you're like, what is this masculine Mexican macho? I know. It's weird. But growing up, when my dad realized I was gay, I think there was a disconnect. So we weren't that bonded when I was a child. That said, I did always pay attention to him trying new stuff, wanting to do things. Fast forward to 2008. So I was diagnosed with HIV AIDS in 2000, and that put me on disability. So I kind of took me a long time to really recover. And I'm putting all these disclaimers so that you folks know and understand how I got to where I am. In 2008, I was a year sober, and I didn't want to go back to work at restaurants because there was a lot of alcohol, and I ended up working in restaurants that had alcohol and beer, and I was like, I don't want to go there. So even though I was on disability, I took that disability time to learn new things, to figure out things, to see how things worked. Because I knew one day I probably would not be on disability anymore, and I had to get back to work. And I didn't want to go back to work in a 9-to-5 job or a cubicle. I did corporate when I was younger, and I didn't want to go there. The best thing I got out of corporate was where to buy the good cocaine, and I didn't want to go down that route anymore. And so I got into social media. I started MySpace stuff early on Facebook, I've had my YouTube page since 2008. It was all about building, taking classes, doing workshops, learning from people, reaching out to people that I didn't know. It's like, hey, I saw this video that you did. It's really cool. Can I ask how you did it? And people would give me information. So now we're going to fast forward all the way to 2019. I get off disability. I was on disability for a long time, but I'm also a cancer survivor, so that put me back on disability for a while. 2019 comes in October. They're like, hey, we're taking you off disability. I'm like, I'm ready for the world. Let's go do this. March 2020, we all know what happened. So, but all through the years, I took classes. I worked on stuff. I did part-time jobs. I volunteered for things. That was huge. Volunteering for things, internships. I put that in quotes because I was just like, hey, I'll help you. Like, what are you doing? And people are like, have you ever done this before? Like, I know, but that's why I want to help you. Don't pay me. Just teach me what you're doing. But so Little Mexican Productions, Inc. actually started back in 2008. We officially got registered this year. We trademarked last year, and it's a social enterprise. And our main goal is to do things for the growth of the company, but to put good things out into the community. So everything that we produce has to have a learning, educational, spiritual growth component to it. Otherwise, we won't do it. And that's why we have 3 separate live stream shows. But there's been a lot of people that have helped me along the way. And I don't know if I ever answered the question that you said. I just went on a tangent. But that's kind of like that's the condensed version of where I got to where I am right now. Does that make sense? That
yeah.
make sense?
From what you're saying, you had a challenge or two along the way.
And it was a pain in the butt, but it got me through it. I was anal cancer, by the way. That's why I make butt jokes.
Oh, I thought you made butt. No, don't. I'm not even going. Not even going there. I could so easily. No, I'm not. He's left me speechless.
Do it. Do it. Just do it, Ed.
This is history in the making. History in the making. Ed Fox is now speechless.
Say it. Say it. Say the joke.
History in the making.
So the challenges that you've come up against, but you didn't quit. You didn't quit.
No.
You kept moving forward.
That is one thing that you asked me about my upbringing, and I just went in this whole story. That is one thing that I learned from my parents. My parents did not give up. There was never that I remember a time when things got hard and my parents were like, oh, well, that's it. Let's just pack it up. It was always like, let's figure it out. I remember my dad, he's still alive. My mom passed away last year. But one thing my dad, I remember, I never, like most kids, I never knew that we didn't have. And whether we did or didn't have enough money, I never went without. There was always a full cupboard full of food, and my parents were always there in the best way that they could. Totally different generations, but my mom was 41 when she had me, so it was a big age divide. But my parents fought. I remember my dad having 3 jobs, and when I was 20, I had 3 jobs. And like I said, even during disability, I worked as much as I could. I did as much as I could. I volunteered a lot. I volunteered a lot over the 20 years. And I'm not saying that to brag to people. I'm saying that because every opportunity to volunteer was a chance to learn something or meet someone. Networking, man, you don't even know. Build your, I guess we're not giving advice yet or anything, but
we can
build your Rolodex. Every person you meet is a connection.
Now you're aging yourself, Daniel.
Pardon?
Rolodexes, really? My kids don't even know what a Rolodex is. How old are you, Daniel?
I'm 50.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's a kid. He's a kid. I love this kid. But
yeah, what my parents taught me was, if you put your mind to it, you may not get to the dream you want, but you're going to get really close, and be proud of that. There's always a possibility. My mom would say, "Are you dead yet?" No. Well, then you can still do something. I didn't grow up in that generation was like, you can be anything you want. I'm like, well, I want to be tall and blonde and blue-eyed. And she was like, well, you're screwed now. That's not going to happen. But I did grow up in a house where they were like, you can do something. Do something to make yourself feel better. And when, spiritually speaking, when you feel better, when I feel better, there's an inner light that shines, and that motivates people around you to go, man, what are you doing that makes you so shiny, so bright? And you're like, I'm just living my dream. I'm going after my goals. And then people are like, well, man, how do I do that?
Right. And
then you don't have to tell people what you're doing. I don't have to come. I mean, I'm here because you asked me to come in. That's part of the show, folks, to come and talk about yourself. But no, you don't walk around the street going, I helped raise kittens today. I put out a fire. I made lunch. Like, you don't do that. You just shine, and people look at you and go, what are you doing? Like, I want to shine that way. And then you teach them. And then you teach them. And then what a freaking legacy to leave behind, to teach people how to fish.
You just do.
Yeah. Be excellent to each other. That's mainly the t-shirt. There you go. So
I think you paraphrased a famous saying there, Paul.
Maybe. Maybe
Nike, one of the two.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that sponsor. We've kind of upset all the other sponsors.
We're really good at annoying potential sponsors. Yeah. Okay, so Daniel, tell us a little bit about what you and I'll make a joke. Do.
What do I do?
What do you do?
Well, what do I
win.
do?
Or win.
When do I do? We had to go there, folks. We had to go there. You don't even know
This is a shit show. I'm just saying.
You don't know the Three Stooges combo that you have on you right now. Like you don't have no idea. So what do I do? Okay, so Little Mexican Productions Inc. is a social media enterprise, like I said, or a social enterprise. When I say social media, I throw that in there in parentheses because that's basically where we work. So I cover three major components. Number one, it's entertainment. So I'm an actor, stand-up comic, and a host, an MC. So I host my own shows. We have 3 shows on the air. The Christian and Daniel show that I do with my partner, the Card Devo show, which is a spiritual card reading type show where we give suggestions to people. We don't give advice, we give suggestions, and Put It Together Conversations, which is an interview show. Where
Wait a minute. Let's rewind this. Number one, all that you're doing, isn't number one Little Mexican Productions number one point is that you're Mexican? That should be the number one point. Little Mexican Productions is because you're Mexican. All right, now go ahead.
I thought we covered that, but anyway, go on.
So yes, Little Mexican Productions Inc. And I'll
The Mexican part is very important.
I'll tell you where the little
very important. Wonder Bread or not, to me, it's very important.
Yes, no, the Mexican part is definitely, and I'll tell you where the Little Mexican name came from because a lot of people ask, like, where did that come from?
Yep,
So
I want to hear.
I'll tell you about that. Entertainment. So actor, stand-up comic, host, MC. So we cover all that, anything, and we do the 3 shows: Christian and Daniel show, Card Devo, and Put It Together Conversations. So we air 4 shows a week, usually sometimes 6, up to 6. I'm crazy that way. Wow. And we just put to rest the podcast. I had a podcast for 9 years, and we just did our last show last month. For those of you listening, it was in March. We did our last show after 9 years and over 310 episodes, and we moved to live streams. So we wanted to do just live streams. I'm also an HIV advocate with my foundation is in education and prevention to high school, colleges, and universities. So I go speak at schools and public speaking. And if you want to hire me, I go wherever you want. Now that we can travel again, I can go anywhere. So advocacy with a little bit of anal cancer and cancer prevention conversations, mental health. And I talk a little bit about diabetes because I'm diabetic as well. And then the third component is the spiritual. So we have 3 departments in Little Mexican Productions Inc. And the third department is the spiritual growth department. And we talk about Reiki, energy work. I'm a spiritual coach, so I help people work through some of their issues. I'm also a card reader, intuitive card reader, so I do card readings for people. But we've got more stuff in the works. We've got custom-made meditations that if you call, I create a meditation just for you. It's not a general, go to YouTube, find it. This is just like Ed calls and said, I need a meditation for me. And we custom make one just for you based on your energy, which are really doing well. And then now we have annexes, which is really exciting. I'm so excited. I'm an author. I'm a published author. So I just came up with a children's book called Grumpy Bunny and the Colors Game, which is a book that parents can read to their kids and hopefully they can grow up with it. But it's also for adults, so you can get it as an adult. If you're not familiar or comfortable with meditation, it is a guided meditation, and it's the story about this bunny that woke up grumpy. So Bunny woke up grumpy one day, didn't know why, and his mom walks him through this guided meditation. But the cool thing about the book, because we're a social enterprise, it's not just a read book. It has a glossary in it so that children, if there's words they don't understand, they can look in the glossary in the back. It has a chakra chart so people can learn about chakras if they're not familiar. So we really try to make it not just entertainment, but educational. And the last thing, oracle cards. If people are familiar with tarot cards and oracle cards, I am creating my own deck, the Card Devo's learning deck. So again, it's not just about using a deck of cards for spiritual growth. It's learning about your chakras and energy and how it influences. So that is at my editors right now. Actually, this is the first place I talk about it. It just went over to my editor and publisher, for review. So if with any luck, it should be out by the end of the year, along with the Spanish version of Grumpy Bunny, which is at my Spanish editor. So I have a Spanish editor who is reviewing the Spanish version to make sure that it's ready for printing. So there's a lot of stuff that I do at Little Mexican Productions Inc. with Christian. My partner.
The little 4-year-old can't wait for the book. The little 4. Question though, Ed's written some books, and I keep being encouraged to write a book. That's not going to happen. But how much time did you put into putting this book together? I mean, how many hours of interviewing a grumpy person like Ed did you have to go through to come up with this book, Grumpy Bunny?
Grumpy Bunny is a COVID kid. I say that with love. And I hope I don't come off as like, oh my God, you know how to do everything. I don't. I just learned, and I turned 50, and my midlife crisis was like, I'm going into overwork. Like I want to do everything. I don't have children. We're not married yet. I still live by myself. And I'm like, if something should happen tomorrow, what's my legacy? What am I leaving behind other than an apartment full of stuff? What am I leaving the world? What would my nephews remember their uncle as, or my great nephews? So so Grumpy Bunny is a COVID kid. It grew up during the lockdown. The story of COVID Kid was I was watching a TV show, and there's a show called The Good Witch, which is one of my favorite shows and movies. And a kid was being grumpy, and the dad didn't know how to handle her. So the character, the Good Witch, she comes over, she kneels down. She's like, what's going on? She has a conversation. I'm like, if more parents knew how to talk to their kids like that. And then I remembered me as a little 6-year-old kid. I was always full of energy. And I remember one of my things was like, I would run to my parents like, I'm bored. What do I do? And my mom was like, I don't know, find something to do. I'm like, I'm a kid. Like if I knew what to do, I wouldn't come to you to know what to do. So it took me a whole year to write Grumpy. At first, it was a very Dr. Seuss type book, very simple, very dummy down. And then I sent it to who was then my producer for the podcast, who is now my publisher. He owns his own publisher, Bunny 17 Media. He's the publisher. And I sent it to him, and he was like, is this really what you want to put out? And I took that as a go back to the drawing board. So I got typical author, temperamental Mexican. I got really upset at what he said. And I was like, screw it, I'm not writing this book. And it sat there for a couple of months. And then I saw a therapist on Good Morning America or somewhere talking about how to talk to kids. And I thought, that is so pedantic. That is so belittling of a child. And it reminded me of me as a kid, of me going to adults and going, hey, I've got this issue. I don't know how to fix it. And then they would turn around and say, well, go figure it out. I'm like, I'm a kid. I need you to help me. And so I picked up the book again. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I picked up the book again, made a cup of coffee. And I said, I'm not going to bed till I hammer out at least 75% of this book. And I did. I worked it out. I reworded it. If you see the book, and for those of you, if you buy the book, you'll see in the back, there's a picture of me when I was like 6 years old. And I wrote it thinking about him. I'm not gonna cry, you're gonna cry. I looked at little Daniel, and I remembered how alone he felt sometimes, and how dismissed he felt at moments, and unwanted because his parents didn't know how to deal with him. And I, in my knowledge, sat down and had my own meditation. I meditated and talked to little Daniel and said, help me write this book. Help me write this book in a way that you want to be talked to. And it's not dummied down. It's not simple words. That's what I wanted as a kid. I wanted to be talked to as
a real conversation.
Yeah. And so finally, March, today's we're in May now, for those of you listening. In March, I finished it, sent it to my editor. He sent it to some actual children to read. They loved it. They came back with comments like, it made me feel calm. This felt like a meditation to me. My therapist has done this kind of thing. And I was like, yes, that's what I wanted to hear. We found an amazing Jennifer Gatch, who is the illustrator who helped me draw Bunny. Her daughter, who's 11 years old, did the illustrations and the backgrounds of the book. So what else can you ask for?
Just works, right?
A mom and a daughter worked on the illustration for my book, which is a kid's book. It's just, I mean, not because it's my book, and I swear, it's made with a lot of love. There's a lot of love.
And you can pre-order it. I've already ordered it. Pre-ordered. Yes. I already ordered the book.
So we'll have those details for you guys to look at Daniel's book and to find out more about him in the show notes on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the podcast sites as well. Daniel, what are 3 tips you would give somebody looking to start their own business, or if they've started their own business and they're not seeing the successes they want right now? We've got about 5 minutes left. What are 3 good tips?
One, wear a cool t-shirt. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not Daniel.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, I know we're running out of time and I talk so much. I apologize. Yes, the t-shirt is my niche. I wear a different t-shirt on every show, and that's just a side thing. Every live stream that I do, I wear a different shirt, usually matching what the host is talking about, so that it's a visual thing. People look at it, they're like, oh, I know what they're talking about. Okay, so 3 tips that I would give you if you are starting your own business. Number 1, start collecting names. I did that way too late, and it took me a long time. And then I realized I don't remember this person's email. I didn't get their name. How can I get a hold of them? So the person you meet, if you're interested in them, if they seem cool, always say, hey, can I follow you on Instagram? Do you have a Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Where can I find you? I really like to stay connected. A lot of people will just say, yeah. Don't take that as dismissive. A lot of people just don't think you're going to follow through. So follow through. Hello, how are you doing? I thought about you. Keep people on your mind, even if it's for nothing else than, hey, I thought about you today. And people feel good about that. They enjoy that. I like it. Number 2, get off your ass and do it. Just do it.
Check.
Just do it. You keep, I know you're sitting there right now going, but I don't know if this is going to work. And I don't know if that's going to happen. And of course you don't until you put it to work. Get to work. You don't know if you can ride a bicycle until you get on a bicycle. So just
fall off a few times.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Please make mistakes and error and forget to hit record when you're doing an interview. Man, how many times did I do those? But make mistakes. Just get up and do it. My shows. I started my very, very, very first video was 1 minute with Daniel, and it was a 1 minute rant about just something. Some of them got viewed, some of them got thousands of views, and then it morphed. And now I have my own production company, and I do my own shows the way that I want to. And number 3, be you.
Yes.
Just be you. If you're sarcastic, be sarcastic. If you're sweet and nice, be sweet and nice. If you're a total ass, be a total ass. You'll find your audience will find you. Your audience will find you. And I'll throw this little annex there. Be patient with yourself. Some people balloon. Their first video goes viral and they have millions, but you got to sustain that. So be patient. Set your foundation. And I know this is more than 3 tips. I apologize, but I was very clear about my intentions from the beginning, and they've morphed, they've changed a little, but my intention was always to put out something positive into the world because there was already enough negative, and I wanted to put positive. It's taken me this many years to get to where I am now, but it's under my terms. Ooh, that made me choke up. It's on my terms. It's got my name, and nobody can take that away from me.
Exactly.
Nobody.
That's great.
Ed, I never get an opportunity to be part of the show. See how I interrupt you? So here's what I've gotten from the show. 1, I love Daniel. 2, I'm ready to write a book, Daniel, I think. You're inspiring me. 3, I think I'm ready to start a business. I checked off all 3, so I might be ready to start a business. Yes.
Yes, because you don't have enough to do, Paul. You need a hobby. At your age, we need to keep you busy.
I like being busy. I'm like you, full of energy.
Yeah. And take a nap. This is my
Take a nap.
My biggest tip. My biggest tip to everybody is every once in a while, just take a nap. Just put your phone down, shut the laptop, put something on TV that totally like drowns you, or some meditation, or call me for a private meditation. But do something, go and take a nap, get refreshed. We can't do everything in one day. So stop trying. It's not going to happen. You're not going to do everything in one day. And I had to learn that. Your body, mind, and soul, when they're perfectly aligned, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And when they talk to each other and they're like, okay, I have a great idea. And your body's like, I've got the energy. And your spirit is like, I'm ready to go. And it's like, and Grumpy Bunny and the colors game emerges from that.
He's got me so pumped for the balance of the day. Ed, I know we're running out of time. We got to have this guest on again. I got to tell you, he did a wonderful card reading for this show. On the Card Diva, he did a card reading. I asked him to do a card reading about Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul, and it was a very good card reading. In fact, my wife was right there listening, and we have to have him back again.
Well, we already knew that. So we've talked about that before. So, Daniel, hey, great having you on the show. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or follow you, how would they do that?
Yeah, so I think I'm old school. The best way is to find me on Facebook, which is Daniel G. Garza. It's the best. Just find me there, or the Daniel G. Garza, which is the fan page. And my email, it's so easy. Again, old school, and I love it. It's Daniel G. Garza, all one word, at hotmail.com. Pretty easy. Daniel G. Garza at hotmail.com. Send me an email. I'll send you information. And if you're listening to this and you have a great put it together story, get in touch and we'll have you on my show.
I hope you picked up on that, Ed. Notice he used Hotmail instead of Gmail. He used Hotmail.
Well, he's old school. I thought he was going to come out with AOL or Yahoo.
No, he's a hot guest. We got a hot guest.
A hot mess. That's me.
No.
Daniel, hey, thanks for being on the show. Had a great time.
My pleasure.
Some great tips, and you're exactly right. And we talk about a lot of the things that you talked about today on the show as well. And that's the key, right? Do what you can do when you can do it, and be authentic. Be you. Unless you're a serial killer, then change.
Unless you're sure. Do you know one? Sorry, no.
Don't ask him. Don't ask him.
I was driving along the road the other day up through Kentucky, and I stopped and picked up this hitchhiker. And this hitchhiker said to me, he said, why would you pick me up? I could be a serial killer or anything. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? It'd be astronomical that two serial killers would be riding in the same car at the same time along the same road. I kept him thinking.
True story.
What are the chances?
What are the chances?
So when are we going on a road trip?
Right. Through the Midwest.
I'm not going with him.
I'm ready. Jose. I could write a book about that. I know we're over time, and I thank you so much for letting me talk and ramble.
Good talking to you, Daniel. Let's catch up again. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
God bless.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Thanks a lot and have a great day.